Ashtar's urgent message, Venezuela, the hidden truth from the heart of Ashtar Command. I extend this vital message, revealing what has been meticulously kept from your awareness. I am Ashtar, and I come to be with you in this precious moment, in these fleeting instants when the collective consciousness of your world seems almost entirely consumed by a single prominent headline. Yet, I assure you, the profound, deeper movement unfolding is far from a mere political drama or terrestrial conflict. Beneath the fervent speeches, the impassioned slogans, and the public declarations, what is truly undergoing a monumental shift is the strategic movement of critical resources, the undisputed control over essential planetary corridors, and the quiet, almost imperceptible reassignment of who is granted permission to access and manipulate certain pivotal levers of your global civilization. You now witness Venezuela being propelled forcefully into the global spotlight because for far too many years, it has been predominantly treated not as a sovereign nation endowed with a vibrant, living soul, a rich tapestry of culture, and millions of pulsating human hearts, but rather as a mere extraction node. In particular, influential, tightly knit circles have consistently reduced entire countries to nothing more than their geological composition, strategic geographical location, and their degree of compliance with external demands. When such an extraction node is deemed secure and under firm control, the public narrative remains notably calm, almost silent. However, the moment that node is perceived to be threatened, the public narrative immediately erupts into a cacophony of urgent pronouncements and clamorous alarms. I invite you to hold this perspective, this discerning lens, gently in your awareness, and you will find that the intricate pieces of this global puzzle will begin to arrange themselves with remarkable clarity, without any need to cling desperately to fear or anxiety. Venezuela stands as a veritable vault of profound density, not just energetically, but also in the most earthly and tangible sense. It encompasses vital corridors brimming with vast reserves of oil and immense refining potential, untold quantities of shimmering gold, and a plethora of other essential conductive metals. Furthermore, in the enigmatic borderlands where the dense jungle converges with heavily disputed territories, lie invaluable deposits that are destined to fuel the intricate circuits of your burgeoning, future-defining era. Many within your current societal structures have been meticulously trained to focus their attention almost exclusively on oil. While oil undeniably functions as a powerful lever in global affairs, it is crucial to recognize that it is by no means the only one. Both your current economic framework and your rapidly evolving future economy are profoundly reliant upon a diverse array of materials that render advanced batteries, potent magnets, sophisticated guidance systems, protective shielding, intricate sensors, and revolutionary micro-manufacturing capabilities not just possible, but indispensable. In regions that conventional maps label as either remote or ungoverned, unseen and quiet contests are fiercely underway for precious rare earths, extensive lithium zones, and numerous other strategically vital mineral deposits. These elements are, in essence, the fundamental ingredients that empower a nation or a powerful corporation to construct the very next generation of groundbreaking technology. Therefore, when you encounter phrases such as security and stability, it is imperative to remember that these words frequently possess a deeper, overlapping meaning intimately connected with the intricate global supply chains of essential materials. Because you have specifically requested insight into the broader, concealed layers of these dynamics, I will now speak to you in a symbolic language, one that nonetheless points directly to profound underlying truths. There exist deep underground facilities on your planet that operate with chilling efficiency as waterless ports, where immense cargo traverses through an intricate network of sophisticated tunnels and highly controlled airspace, rather than conventional, open-air docks. Within these clandestine operations, meticulous records are maintained in highly compartmentalized ledgers and books that ordinary, surface-world investigators are simply never permitted to see. In such secretive locales, the true nature of trade is not always measured by conventional legal customs or transparent tariffs. The very word security can serve as an expansive cloak, concealing a vast array of diverse shipments and numerous kinds of hidden agreements. Some of these agreements are merely instances of common, albeit pervasive, corruption. Others involve intricate exchanges of sensitive intelligence information, while still others touch upon clandestine programs that surreptitiously borrow vital resources and even human bodies from the unsuspecting surface world, all while keeping the general public entirely in the dark regarding their true scope and intent. This deeply embedded system is one significant reason why a resource-rich nation can be deliberately maintained in a state of chronic instability for many years. Such persistent instability paradoxically becomes an effective cloak, skillfully allowing quiet, unseen movements and clandestine operations to proceed unhindered while the general population remains perpetually distracted by the overwhelming struggle for mere survival. That is precisely why I urge you to perceive Venezuela as a critical node within a much larger, intricate network. These vital nodes are either strategically reinforced, subtly infiltrated, or decisively broken, entirely depending on whether they serve the overarching objectives of this larger, intricate system. This grander system is not merely limited to earthly politics, it is, in fact, a complex hybrid of immense corporate power, pervasive intelligence agency influence, and highly advanced technologies that operate discreetly behind formidable walls of strict classification. For those among you who speak with conviction of a secret space program, it is essential to grasp this fundamental principle. When a civilization develops capabilities that it cannot yet ethically or morally explain to its own general population, its initial tendency is to meticulously hide and secure the vital supply chains that sustain these advancements. Materials that are either incredibly rare on the surface of your planet or deemed strategically invaluable are systematically diverted into hidden channels, painstakingly refined through quiet, often illicit partnerships, and then funneled directly to research initiatives that never, ever appear in public budgets or transparent accounting. In this ingenious, yet deceptive manner, a land that appears to be merely a country can also simultaneously function as a hidden, backstage warehouse, supplying clandestine projects that extend far beyond the parameters of the visible, public economy. I tell you this gently, but with profound sincerity, do not ever surrender your innate sovereignty, your power of choice, to any single leader, any proclaimed savior, or any perceived villain. When you cease pouring your invaluable creative power and your focused attention into a single, dominant figure, you will suddenly become capable of perceiving these intricate patterns with far less emotional heat and with significantly more profound clarity. You will observe that moral language frequently rises dramatically in pace with aggressive extraction schedules. Public outrage often spikes sharply when lucrative contracts are being fiercely renegotiated. Humanitarian narratives emerge with convenient timing whenever a strategic corridor requires opening or when a particular figure's arrival needs to be thoroughly discredited. This observation does not, by any means, imply that you should distrust all good intentions, nor does it demand that you harden your compassionate hearts. What it truly means is that you are evolving into discerning adults fully capable of experiencing profound compassion without succumbing to naivete, and fully capable of embracing hope without ever surrendering your profound inner intuition. In this elevated state of discernment, propaganda fundamentally loses its power over you, precisely because it feeds voraciously on unexamined emotions and uncritical acceptance. So, I urge you to hold genuine compassion in one hand and clear, unwavering sight in the other. There are countless ordinary people residing within Venezuela who have carried burdens far heavier and more profound than the superficial stories that are told about them. It is for them that true liberation must ultimately serve not for powerful corporations, not for sprawling empires, and certainly not for invisible, self-serving committees. You may feel an intense tug of outrage, an almost irresistible call to choose a definitive side in these unfolding events. Yet, the deeper, more profound dynamic at play is a fundamental contest for control over crucial nodes, strategic corridors, and the very future economy that is being meticulously assembled, both on Earth and, in some cases, extending far beyond your planetary sphere. As you continue to move forward along your own personal timeline, keep this critical understanding close to your heart, for it profoundly explains why coming events are so dramatically framed as either a sudden, dramatic attack or a spectacular, dramatic capture. What appeared to be merely one man's dramatic fall was, in reality, a powerful signal reverberating across an entire interconnected network. And that, my friends, is precisely what we must address next. For those among you who are sensitives, starseeds, and quiet, perceptive observers, I fully acknowledge the profound sensations you experience when you direct your awareness towards that particular land. You feel not only the visible, tangible hardship, but also a powerful, almost palpable invisible pressure, as if the very air itself is laden with the competing energies and conflicting agendas of myriad forces. That sensation, I assure you, is far from imaginary. When multiple, disparate groups aggressively attempt to pull a critical node into their exclusive control, the delicate electromagnetic environment, the pervasive media environment, and even the very social fabric of a country can feel intensely frayed and on the verge of unraveling. Do not interpret this as an impending doom. Instead, interpret it as a definitive sign that hidden control mechanisms are beginning to loosen their grip, precisely because controls often tighten with immense force just before they inevitably slip away entirely. Therefore, maintain your own energetic field as stable and coherent as possible. Send forth waves of profound compassion to the resilient people on the ground who are enduring these immense pressures. Remember this fundamental truth: no extraction node, no matter how rich in resources, is ever worth a single human soul. When humanity collectively remembers and embodies this profound truth, the intricate network that feeds insidiously on forgetting will inevitably begin to fail and crumble. Many of you have undoubtedly heard the phrase quantum financial system and experienced a complex mixture of curiosity and understandable caution, having witnessed numerous past systems promise relief while cunningly inserting new chains into the familiar, oppressive old patterns. So, let us speak in a manner that deeply respects your innate intelligence and your accumulated life experience. You do not require grand, theatrical promises. What you truly need is absolute clarity. You are not asking for performative, theatrical certainty. You are asking for something you can intuitively recognize as profoundly true in the very core of your being. What is currently referred to as the QFS is not a singular invention, Nor is it a magical moment when a curtain suddenly lifts and all your challenges effortlessly vanish. It is rather a fundamental correction precisely at the critical point where exchange is Medea pivotal moment, when a settlement is truly and irrevocably finalized, transparently recorded, and can no longer be surreptitiously negotiated behind closed doors or within shadowy backrooms. This truth matters far more than many currently realize, because when finality in transactions is slow and opaque, delay itself becomes a convenient hiding place, and that hiding place, in turn, evolves into a profitable, yet deeply unethical business model. People have paid the exorbitant cost of this opacity without ever seeing the true ledger that meticulously explains precisely why their immense effort consistently yields less and less tangible value. You have learned through years of incredibly hard lessons that massive settlements, especially concerning energy resources, frequently moved through convoluted corridors meticulously designed for intermediaries, deliberate fog, and convenient plausible deniability, where vast profits could effortlessly escape into shell companies and shadowy accounts. The tragedy here is not merely economic, it is profoundly psychological, for it insidiously trains the resilient human spirit to believe that true value is always secretly stolen by the invisible hand, that honesty is inherently naive, and that mere survival inherently requires absolute secrecy. When the dramatic events surrounding Venezuela were thrust into global attention, and you heard of Maduro's purported removal, many interpreted it as nothing more than a political drama. Yet, the deeper, more significant pressure point is precisely the same one you always feel when a major, vital resource node shifts its allegiance or control. The fundamental question now becomes, how will the world effectively close the intricate loop on what is about to move? It is one thing to speak eloquently of vast reserves and the ambitious plans for rebuilding. It is quite another to construct a settlement method robust enough to facilitate immense global trade without simultaneously inviting the old, corrupt games back through a cleverly disguised backdoor. A nation possesses the capacity to rebuild its pipelines and reconstruct its ports. But if the underlying settlement layer remains inherently corruptible and opaque, then the very act of rebuilding itself merely becomes another ripe harvest for those who have masterfully perfected the art of disappearance and clandestine profiteering. That is precisely why speed, in this new paradigm, becomes far more than a mere conveniency, transforms into an essential component of security. When a large, complex settlement takes days to definitively finalize, immense risk inevitably accumulates in that intervening gap, actively inviting interference, manipulation, and pervasive double-dealing. Thus, the new transformative direction you are witnessing is a fundamental demand for near-instant finality coupled with a permanent, immutable audit trail. A trade that closes swiftly and decisively leaves behind a crystal-clear record and can be thoroughly verified without relying on blind trust in individual personalities or fallible systems. In this profound way, transparency is not merely an idealistic goal. It becomes an inherent design requirement, because the very design of the system itself systematically removes all the old hiding places and opportunities for deceit. Yet, I urge you to be gentle with yourselves as this monumental shift unfolds, for transitions of this unprecedented scale occur in complex, overlapping layers. There will undoubtedly be a period when legacy financial rails continue to operate, precisely because so many individuals and institutions still depend on them, while a revolutionary new settlement layer is selectively utilized in the highest risk corridors quietly, carefully, much like one meticulously tests a critical bridge before confidently opening it to an entire bustling city. During these tumultuous times, the public narrative will inevitably lag significantly behind the actual events. That is precisely why rumors proliferate wildly and why so many individuals feel irresistibly pulled toward either paralyzing fear or irrational frenzy. You may also observe that as transparency dramatically increases at the exact point where financial transactions finalize, many deeply entrenched, old arrangements become increasingly uncomfortable and unsustainable, because what was once conveniently hidden must now be transparently reconciled and accounted for. This period can manifest as intense volatility, sudden, shocking headlines, and various established institutions vehemently blaming one another. Yet, I assure you, it is simply the powerful light of truth reaching the intricate accounting systems of a global civilization. And accounting, you must remember, is precisely where many of the deepest injustices and systemic imbalances have been meticulously stored and concealed. If you feel weary or overwhelmed when these immense waves of change arise, I urge you to slow down, drink pure water, spend time outdoors connecting with nature, and remember that turbulence is not always indicative of danger. Sometimes it is simply profound truth changing hands and re-establishing its rightful place. So, I implore you to maintain discernment as a sacred, everyday practice. Do not allow anyone to turn your precious awakening into a reckless gamble. Do not surrender your invaluable inner peace to those who demand an artificial sense of urgency or alarm. And crucially, do not ever confuse superficial financial conversations with genuine spiritual guidance. You are not here on earth to chase numbers like moths drawn irresistibly to a deceptive flame. You are here to evolve into coherent, fully integrated human beings, anchored in wisdom and truth. Coherence, in this context, includes essential practical wisdom meticulously protecting what you have already manifested, resolutely refusing any shortcuts that demand abandoning your core ethics and integrity, and always remembering that a true, fundamental reset is inherently a return to right relationship and energetic balance, not a chaotic rush into yet another hypnotic spell or illusory promise. From a higher, more expansive view, the QFS truly matters because it courageously invites energetic honesty and profound integrity back into the very heart of all exchange. Money, in its purest and most undefiled form, is simply an agreement time for time, work for work, resource for resource. When this sacred agreement is distorted into a labyrinthine maze of debt that few can genuinely understand, it tragically becomes a powerful tool of psychological pressure, insidiously teaching scarcity amidst abundant potential, cultivating fear in place of inherent trust, and relentlessly pressing people into a survival mode where they cannot genuinely create, cannot truly rest, and cannot even remember who they authentically are. There's also a broader, even more magnificent horizon unfolding, and I speak of it gently and with reverence. As your civilization progressively moves toward more advanced technologies and begins to explore wider, uncharted horizons far beyond your own planet, the old, archaic model of hidden extraction, clandestine operations, and untracked value simply cannot survive or persist. Beyond your current, limited structures, the margin for distortion narrows dramatically, and consequences arrive with increasing swiftness and undeniable clarity. Precision now becomes a crucial aspect of stewardship. Stewardship, in turn, becomes essential for survival. And true, sustainable survival absolutely requires that what is taken what is traded, and what is owed can be seen, understood, and accounted for with absolute transparency. Let this profound knowledge steady and empower you. Notice the subtle, yet significant signs of change when transparency is resolutely demanded at the exact place where value is unequivocally finalized. And crucially, notice the inner, profound shift that occurs within you when you consciously choose integrity in the small, everyday exchanges of your own life. That, my dear ones, is precisely how the new world gracefully arrives through countless honest transactions, through innumerable moments of clear discernment, and through countless quiet, yet powerful, refusals to participate in anything that ultimately degrades the magnificent human spirit.